Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to share 5 foods I stopped eating that really helped me lose my belly pooch, get rid of all that excess bloating, and help me lose some extra weight. So I actually did a video like this about, oh my gosh, like 2 or 3 years ago, which is crazy. And you guys freaking loved it. So I wanted to give you an update. So if you're brand new to my channel, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you guys don't miss any of my videos that I post each week. And I really wanted to give you an update on some of those things that I shared about a few years ago and share some new ones that I've recently started, or stopped I guess, eating that I've noticed have made a huge difference in that lower belly area. So if you guys are ready to ditch the bloat, sweat the thumbs up, give it a click, and I want to dive into this first one. So one of the things I mentioned in that other video was that I gave up fake sugars, which is totally true, but I kind of wanted to be a little bit more specific. So when I was in the midst of my crazy psycho dieting, when I was doing every diet under the sun, I survived off of sugar-free candy. Like, that was allowed in my diets because of all the sugar alcohols. So really, giving up sugar alcohols is what has made the biggest difference in my bloating. So those diets are horrible, obviously, and something that at the time I thought was helping my weight loss, which newsflash, it's not, it doesn't, it messes up your body, is those sugar alcohols were giving me insane stomach issues. You know what I mean? Like stomach issues. That's not okay. And beyond that, I had crazy amounts of bloating and twisting and cramping and discomfort. And here's the thing, a lot of people in my last video were like, bloating's totally normal. Sure, bloating happens, but guess what? It doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen all the time. Yes, it's kind of natural as you eat different foods. Bloating is going to be a natural part of our body's digestion. However, if you can recognize things that make you bloat and things that make you uncomfortable and get rid of them from your diet, wouldn't you want to do that? Or at least eliminate them or reduce them? Obviously. And sugar alcohols are one of those things that are just bad for you. They're just bad. So think of all those garbagey, sugar-free, sweetened things that have the Splendas, the Equals, all that stuff. I lived on it for years, you guys. It's not okay. Your body doesn't absorb it the same way. It messes up your gut. It can cause so many digestive issues. You don't want that. So avoid that. If you're looking for a 0-calorie way to sweeten stuff, stevia and monk fruit are the way to go because they are from nature. They add sweetness, and there's different ones that you can find, but they don't mess up your metabolic rate like that, and they're not gonna cause the same discomfort that a lot of those other crazy sugar alcohols will cause. These ones don't do that. So everyone's a little different, obviously. Some people might be sensitive to one thing or another, but stevia and monk fruit have been the tried and true, healthiest options for a 0-calorie sweetener. So I still use those. I'm not using them in a ton of stuff all the time, but in drink mixes or stuff like that, or if I want to sweeten a pancake or something, I'll use that. Number 2 food that I gave up to get rid of the belly bloat, I talked about this in my last video, and this is cruciferous vegetables. Yeah. But here's the thing, you guys. I love kale. I know that's weird, and I like broccoli a lot. And cauliflower everything just makes life better, like cauliflower pizza crust, cauliflower gnocchi, cauliflower rice. You can cut down on some excess carbs, some excess calories by switching potato-based things to cauliflower things. It's magical. But those are cruciferous vegetables, and they can cause a ton of bloating and discomfort for everyone, but especially as hypo girls. If you have hypothyroidism or any close ranging other symptom disease or anything around there, it can be really hard on your stomach to digest those foods. So I've still given up just eating those raw. I don't eat them raw, and honestly at this point I don't really eat any veggies raw except for celery. That's the only one that doesn't make me gaseous or bloaty or other gaseousness. It's just not pretty, you guys. No one likes this. You don't want to go around can you imagine being on a date and you're yeah, no big deal, just eating my broccoli, and then all of a sudden you're it's not cute. Anyway, it's just not comfortable either. So for me, I don't do a lot of cruciferous vegetables on the regular, but when I do, I make sure that I cook them super, super well. So when you cook those cruciferous vegetables, it makes them much easier to digest. And I also will sometimes take a digestive enzyme if I know I'm gonna have a lot of them, just to help support my gut as well to reduce that bloating, because that's part of it. Obviously we're gonna talk about some things that will help just in general with cutting down excess calories that help cut down fat, with those sugars. But with veggies, they're good for you, and truly, the more vegetables and fiber you get in your diet, the more you'll reduce bloating long term. But you have to ease in. You can't just dump a bunch of like veggies and fiber in if you're not eating them right now, because that will make you bloat. So you gotta go slow, make them cooked. It'll be a lot easier to digest and your body will feel so much better. Number 3 is whey protein. I get asked about what protein I eat every single day because I use protein daily, you guys, in my routine all the time. And I have such a hard time answering this because I've spent years trying to find like one that my body likes and that I like, and it's really, really freaking hard. But for a long time, I used whey protein because that has been like the gold standard in the fitness industry for years and years and years as the best to help you burn fat, to help you build lean muscle, to recover post-workout. But I started noticing that like every time I had whey protein, my gut was not happy. I would get super bloated. I would see this like belly pooch happening. Like it was not okay. So what I realized was I was switching from a normal whey to like a grass-fed whey, which is better, higher quality. But then it wasn't a whey isolate. So then I was still getting the casein and other things that can cause irritability in your digestive system, especially if you have any sensitivity to lactose. So that was hard. And then it was so hard to find a whey grass-fed isolate that was not crazy expensive for the amount that I used it in my day. Like it just got nuts. So I made the switch to plant-based proteins and my gut started feeling so much better. But even within plant-based, there's so many different combinations. So it was kind of hard because certain ones would still make me feel bloated. And I was like, okay, well, it's not dairy whey anymore and the lactose being an issue. Now I'm having plants and that's making me feel bloated. So I've really worked to find like what works in my body. And for me, the best combination is like a brown rice and pea blend. So when you blend proteins together, it's the most efficient and like effective for you to be able to have really easy digestion. And brown rice and pea blended together are like the highest digestibility and the lowest rate of bloating. That is my happy place. So you have to make sure that they don't have any sugar alcohols because then you're gonna be like adding into bloating, which you don't want. So a stevia or monk fruit is like the way to go. But making that switch from whey to a plant-based has been so nice for me. I would get so mad because I'd work out so hard and then I'd get my protein and be like, yeah, and then I'd end up after a workout feeling so puffy and bloated and gross. And that's no way to live. So that's something that has changed since my last video. It's been about maybe a year and a half, well no, probably like 2 years actually, which is crazy that I've been doing the plant-based protein instead of a whey. Some people are totally fine, but this is just what has helped me reduce that belly bloat, but still make sure I'm getting plenty of protein. And the great thing about that blend too with my digestive system is like it's easy on it, but the brown rice and the pea blend is also the most comparable to a whey protein as far as your benefits of building lean muscle, burning fat, all of that. It is the best one. So that's how we like to find it. It's hard to find those really good ones though, but that combination is how I've switched. Number 4, now this is something I didn't necessarily stop eating 100% because we actually need it in our bodies, but I completely changed the way I was eating it. And so number 4 is salt. We need salt. It's electrolyte. We need it for our body function. Like it's essential, right? But here's what happens. The CDC says like 90% of Americans eat way more salt than they need every single day. And salt can cause so much excess water weight and retention and so much bloating. Like if you feel like your belly is just constantly bloating, you're like, what am I doing? I'm eating healthy, da da da. Check your salt, because if it's too high, all it could be is just a bunch of excess water weight that's just hanging around and make you feel like a little puffer fish, and that's not fun. So I used to add salt to my meals all the time. And if you order takeout also, oh my gosh, the sodium, even in like healthy takeout food, is so freaking high. Like a whole day's worth probably in one meal. So I started really being conscious of when I was using salt in my foods. Of course, salt's great. It adds a lot of flavor, but there's so many other ways you can spice up your meals with seasoning to really change it, to make it delicious without adding a ton of salt and causing your body to bloat up like a little pufferfish. But you also have to check your stuff. So if you're buying seasoning, if you're buying sauces, they're usually loaded with excess sodium and sugar. So like it's like a lose-lose on that. So you want to make your own spices whenever you can. I have a ton of recipes in the Guiltless Nutrition Guide that have like delicious spices, like my taco seasoning is so good, you guys, without adding tons of salt to it. So definitely check on those. Check your salt intake and make sure that you're not adding it on everything. Try to eliminate as much as you can processed foods, ordering takeout, because that is really where it'll start to add up and you're gonna feel it. The solution, if you are getting excess salt or if you're feeling like maybe you're holding on to water weight, drink tons of water. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but honestly, in order to flush your system out and get rid of that, you have to drink a ton of water. So like double up your water intake. And then there's foods like papaya, asparagus, cucumber. All of those are really awesome for your digestion, but also asparagus and cucumber will help pull that excess water out as well and almost act like a natural diuretic. So asparagus is one of those foods that I try to eat almost every day. Yeah, it makes your pee smell, but honestly it's worth it because then you don't feel so bloated. And number 5, this one is the hardest one. I've really tried to stop eating cheese. And I talked about this, well, I talked about dairy mostly in the old version of this video, so this is kind of an update. I don't have a lot of dairy. I just do like non-dairy, like plant-based milks, right? Yogurt is the one thing that does not upset my stomach as far as dairy goes. If I have like a real Greek yogurt, I'm totally fine. And I think it's probably because it's so rich in probiotics that your body's like, no, this is good. Like we're using this and we're working together. I don't know. For me personally, that's the one thing in dairy that I can have and feel completely normal. But I have a deep love and passion for cheese, and it makes me really sad because as much as I want to eat it all the time, I just feel so bloated. And the other thing that's hard with cheese is I've realized is I love it, right? So I just want to eat it and eat it and eat it. But a serving of cheese is really only about the size of your thumb. Most of the time I'm eating like the size of my palm, like a protein serving, which it has protein, so there's that. But it can add up very quickly with those excess calories. So I'm not a calorie counter. I don't count macros. I eat what I want and I enjoy it, right? But I'm also mindful of what I'm putting in my body. And mindlessly eating blocks of cheese leads to excess calories. So not only am I going to be gaining excess fat, especially in that lower belly area is where I tend to gain it first, but I'm gonna feel super bloated and super uncomfortable because my body just doesn't digest cheese like it used to. So the one thing that I found that I'm okay with, and if I want to eat it, I'm gonna eat it, right? And I just suffer with whatever's happening. But I usually will do a digestive enzyme before I eat my cheese. And for me, if I have raw grass-fed cheese, I'm good. So like a manchego, sheep's milk cheese is usually, sheep's milk and goat milk cheese are usually gonna be raw, and those ones for me, I'm totally fine if I have a normal portion of it. And it's a raw cheese like that. But otherwise, I've tried to really cut down. I just feel like through the last holiday season, I was eating it so much, like so much, 2020, man, lots of cheese. And it just got to a point where like my stomach couldn't handle it the same. So I will still be the girl who brings the cheese board to a party because I want to make sure it's cheese I can actually eat when I'm there. But it's just something that I've had to really start to cut out more and more, almost completely, to be able to not have that bloaty uncomfortableness happening all the time. All right, you guys, so those are the 5 things I stopped/sort of stopped eating that have helped me really reduce bloating, feel so much better all the time. So it's really about being mindful, thinking, and recognizing how your body feels to different foods. Not everyone's gonna be exactly the same. This is what has helped me personally through my own journey. So again, if you haven't watched that original video, make sure you guys go check that out. Like this video, share it with your friends, because I think us girls especially need all the advice we can get and all the help, because you don't always know what those triggers might be for you. So when you hear someone else say like, oh, this is what helped me, it can be a game changer, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, yes, me too, I needed that. So make sure you guys share it. Comment down below if you like this video. If you want more of these or more tips like this, tell me what you want to know from me, because you guys, I've been through it all. 45 pounds, dealing and struggling with my weight, with my body image, confidence, everything, and really completely changing my life over these years. I want to do an updated video for you too on my weight loss story and kind of like dive deeper into the nutrition side of things. So like any questions you guys have, put them down below so I can make sure to answer those for you. I love you so much. If you're not following me on TikTok, I'm gonna link that down below for you guys as well, because there's lots of fun over there for you too. So I'll see you guys soon. Have a great week. Bye.